So, Scotty Hall, today we will be talking about nutrition, health, wellness, and how all of that is going to allow us to hit our potential and to, if your goal is to make millions, then make millions. So, Scott, tell us a little bit about your background and about yourself.
Well, I got into this industry. Well, let me back up. I started lifting when I was around 30 years old. It tremendously benefited me in ways that were wholly unexpected. I wanted to go to the gym to see if I could get in a little bit better shape to be better at mountain biking. And this was a time in my life that I was struggling with some mental health issues, primarily depression and anxiety. Doctors had me on a number of different meds to try to address these issues. And I was in a really dark place. Nobody really realized it at the time, but I was having some suicidal ideation and I was looking for a way out to stop the pain that I was feeling, on a daily basis. So I wandered into the YMCA in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, actually Petal, Mississippi, a little town right outside of Hattiesburg. And I was absolutely intimidated and overwhelmed, and I didn't know what to do. I remember the first day I went in, I did a bunch of leg extensions and walked on the treadmill, and I was like, oh, I'm going to be ripped in like a month. And I got a little bit more into it, found the starting strength template on bodybuilding.com and started trying to work with a barbell a little bit. I was about 160 pounds. For reference, I'm 5'6" and very weak, lacked some confidence in my strength and ability. And, I was just frankly scared to death and intimidated by so many of the older, bigger, seemingly more experienced guys. But I stuck with it. And 6 months later, I was off the meds. And my doctor was saying, what's changed? What's been the variable here? And I said, honestly, I've been weight training really hard. So whatever it was neurologically, it has to do with neurochemistry, but it suited me extremely well. And it was able to balance some of the chemicals in the back end that the meds were trying to address, but were doing ineffectively. And this is kind of a recurring theme I've found throughout the years with my clientele, is that for many of us, this is a path to help address, some deeper issues in life. And there's different ways to look at it. You've got the neurochemical response of it, but my simple philosophy for it is, we live in a world now where we don't fully engage with our bodies, and that's a large component of, who we are evolutionarily. The animal needs to be engaged and needs to move. And the overarching goal of my business, since I've gone into business to try to help other people with this, and this is something I feel a calling to because I literally owe my life to it, has been, guiding people along that path. It's been a pretty profound gift to try to help people become more fully realized. And this is one of those tools that really stretches its fingers out into so many other aspects of your life.
Yeah, so I've experienced the same exact thing with weightlifting. It has really allowed me to gain a confidence that pushes into my business, that pushes into my relationships, including my marriage and my friendships. I agree with the psychological aspect of it, because when I can go into the gym feeling pitiful, and literally after 30 minutes of and I don't even do cardio. So I'll just do weightlifting because I'm not trying to lose weight and I don't want to burn those calories like that. But in the weightlifting side of it, dude, 30 minutes after just lifting some weights and getting my heart rate up, I feel so much more energized and ready for the day. And in the days that I don't do that, if I miss several days because I'm on a trip or whatever, I notice it.
Yeah.
So,
you lift early, correct? About 5 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah. So I'll start my time at 5:30 because that suits my lifestyle. If I wait till the end of the day, it takes a lot more willpower and motivation to get into the gym because I'm already spent after a day.
Yeah. Now, this is a trend that I've seen with professional types, is if you can get it in the morning, it's got just a myriad of benefit. Get a cup of coffee and you get to moving, engage with your body. You're going to start a hormonal and metabolic cascade that is going to benefit you all day long. You're going to set yourself up to approach your work day in a state where you're energized, you feel good, your brain is performing really, really well. And that I've become a big fan of early morning training. I've become a big proponent.
Yeah. So how long are you up before you get into the gym first thing in the morning? Because I know when I first wake up, it takes me just a little second to kind of get moving, like explain your routine right now in the morning from when you wake up to when you get in the gym.
Well, I wake up and I'll either make some really good hot tea or some coffee and kind of, start just kind of shaking the sand out of my eyes. I'd say generally 30 minutes to an hour from waking, I'll try to be in the gym. I'll wake up, hang out with my fiance for a bit, help her get off to school. She's an educator, and just kind of, clear my head out as best as I can. And then I just head in. Right now, I'm training at the community center here in Liberty, Missouri. We're in the process of building out our new facility. And it's been a really, really great way to get going in the morning. I'll mix up a light blend of, orange juice and unflavored whey protein. Sip that on the way to the gym. I'll sip it during the workout and then finish it up after the workout. I really like incorporating that from a nutritional standpoint because it gives you gas to run on. So you end up having a much better workout and you come out of it, with a nice, healthy, balanced blood sugar rather than just going in on an empty stomach and just hitting it hard and coming out of it. And you're like, well, what's next?
Interesting. Yeah. So what would you recommend anyone else, if they were going to take something in right before the gym? What's your top recommendation there?
Before training, just super low fat, because the fat's going to sit so heavy on you and it's hard to do intense physical activity or really too much physical activity of any sort if you've got a bunch of fat on your belly.
So like oatmeal?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of oatmeal. I'll do oatmeal and a couple of eggs in the morning, just so you've got that. So the eggs give you, about 12 grams of protein. It's not a ton, but it's enough to keep you in a positive nitrogen balance to help you recover, through your workout. Yeah. Oatmeal and eggs is a great way to start the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how you do the eggs. Doesn't matter how you do the eggs, egg whites, yolks included. Just
it
eggs.
Doesn't matter, man. I mean, that's details. If you're actively trying to lose weight, you can leave the yolks out. However, from a hormonal standpoint, the cholesterol that's in the yolks is really healthy for hormone production, assuming you don't, just overdo it. Yeah. I think that's a great question, but those are some of the details that are the finer details that, typically come a little bit later in the journey for a lot of folks. So I try not to overstress with too much detail on the front end. I try to establish, healthy guidelines and boundaries, and you can get 80 to 90% of the results that you want without driving yourself crazy, trying to be super meticulous or super dialed in with every little detail, especially when you've got so much going on throughout the day. You've got other things to worry about.
I think that's an extremely important aspect of how you coach, because I know when I came in, I said, hey, I want to bulk up. My wording was, I want to have that military A-frame look. Mm-hmm. And you said, dude, you need to eat. Yep. And you said, what's your eating habits? I said, well, I don't eat breakfast most days. And you immediately said, you got to start eating breakfast. And then my lunches might hit at 11, might hit at 2 o'clock. And then supper, I always ended up grabbing a full supper. And for me, now everybody's makeup is different, but for me, you were like, I don't care if you're eating ice cream. You just need to take in calories because you're going to be burning them in the gym. And that's the only way you're going to bulk up. So the simplicity made it very achievable for me, because I wasn't counting macros, calories, whatever that mess is that most folks do. I wasn't getting on a particular diet. It was the eat what I see diet. We established some guidelines that you operated within, and, that made it pretty easy. Right. With business and life, we've got the 80-20 rule, right? Yes. Well, another way of rephrasing that 80-20 rule is, for my desired outcome at this time, what is the minimal effective dose? In my sphere, that minimal effective dose may be, you only need to work out for a half hour, 45 minutes, 2 or 3 days a week, depending on the client. Now, if you have somebody that's much more advanced, it's going to take a lot more work for them to progress. But particularly for somebody that's newer to this, the minimal effective dose of nutrition would be working with me to establish some guardrails. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it is okay to just eat indulgently, but what do we do during the rest of the week, right? And same thing with fitness. And I think that minimal effective dose philosophy is something that can really bleed over into the rest of life as well. When you're trying to accomplish something, do you have to kill yourself to get there? Or, can you do it in a much more efficient way?